This month's recipe is chocolate brownie with malt cream, salted caramel and popcorn.
In this 4-part mini-series, we've partnered with top Lincolnshire chef Darren Rogan to create 4 fantastic dishes that you can create at home. We've teamed up with Neff to showcase some of their amazing appliances. All of the appliances you will see in the videos are on show at our network of 6 showrooms.
So the first stage to this one is to get the butter, put it into the pan on a medium heat. And get that nice and melted. So get all the butter nice and melted. So once the butter's melted, the next stage is to add the cocoa powder. Give that a good mix as well. Once you've added the cocoa powder, just be careful that it doesn't catch, so make sure you scrape the bottom of the pan with a soft spatula. Try not to use metal on metal, and give it a good mix. Take it off the heat if you think it is catching. And then once the cocoa powder has been mixed in, you can take it off the heat completely and add the sugar. And again, give it a good mix, making sure it's all nice and combined and the sugar is evenly distributed into the mix. Like so. Next is to add the eggs. So when adding the eggs, rather than cracking straight into the pan, I'd recommend cracking it into a tub first, just in case for any reason any of the eggs aren't quite right or you drop a little bit of shell. And they go straight in. And again, give that a good mix. Making sure that the eggs are evenly distributed into the mix again. And then the final ingredient is the flour and a tiny pinch of salt. And again, give that a good mix. So it's plain flour that we've used. Make sure you're scraping all the sides, make sure all the mix is mixed properly. That's the brownie mix ready. So the next stage would be to get a tin, line it with parchment paper. Don't worry about it sticking too much because we're going to push it down in a second, and pour the mix straight in. and then lifting the side slightly, just give it a little tap, and I'll make sure that all the mix is dropping into the corners. And then that can go in the oven at 150 degrees for 40 minutes. So while your brownie's cooking, you can start on your salted caramel. So to make the salted caramel, put a pan on a medium heat, and then add the 2 different sugars. So we've got caster sugar and brown sugar. And all we're going to do is keep moving the sugar in the pan so it starts to caramelise, making sure that you don't let it burn, give it a bit of flavour, but you want it to caramelise, so you need to keep moving it, let it melt down. So as it starts to melt, make sure you keep moving it so that the doesn't burn anywhere. And as it gets to a stage where it's starting to melt quite quickly, just reduce the heat again so it doesn't burn. So again, making sure that as it starts to melt, you keep the sugar moving to make sure that it doesn't catch in any spaces and there's no lumps left in it. Everything's evenly melted, there's no burn spots. Once the caramel is nice and melted, add the butter and the maple syrup, making sure you're careful it will splash a little bit. Give it all a good mix again. Making sure you get all the maple syrup out of the tub. And then add in the cream. Turn the heat right down. And add a pinch of sea salt. So the next stage would be to make the popcorn. So get a pan on a high heat with a good glug of rapeseed oil, making sure that the whole of the pan is covered in the rapeseed oil. And then to that we're going to add equal quantities of isomalt, which is a sugar alternative, and popping kernels. So as the popping kernels start to pop, the isomalt will melt and it will coat the popcorn, so it'll be like a crispy popcorn. And as the popcorn starts popping, make sure you keep moving it to stop it from burning. And then once all the popcorn is popped, tip it out into a tub. And leave it to go cold, being really careful because the isomalt will be really hot until it sets. So the next part, we're going to make the malt cream. So we've got cream and then malt flavoured drink. So add them both together. And then give it a good whisk. So after 40 minutes, the brownie's ready. So take it out and leave it on the side to cool down. Once cooled enough, put it in the fridge for a few hours just to set. So once the brownie's nice and cool, all you need to do now is portion it. So depending on how many you want to cut it into, you should get at least 8. So to plate up, we've got the salted caramel, the whipped Horlicks cream, the chocolate brownie, and then finished off with the popcorn. And that's it done.
If you'd like to find out more information about our products or services, please get in touch or visit one of our showrooms for more information.